Hi, everybody. This is Jelisa. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming back to my channel or listening in the podcast. It is Sunday, July 16, 2023. I came late last night. I think it was right before 1 a.m. and posted a quick video on the YouTube channel. It's letting you everyone know, right? The breaking news that we had an update about the disappearance of Carlee Russell, right? I tell you something. I was watching last night 48 hours, and it was a similar story about somebody being kidnapped from their own home. And I was like, man, this is a real thing. This actually happens here in America, right? The story with Carlee, right? How she was just driving down the highway and she sees a toddler, and then she calls the police. She goes get out of the car, asks the toddler is the child is okay, and then there's a scream that's being heard, and then she completely disappears. So many questions that we have about the disappearance of Carlee. And the crazy thing is, like, nobody knew like what happened to her. And then last night somebody dropped her off at her parents' house, and that was a big update, right? So first of all, I gotta say, the power of prayer. Number one, we gotta give the credit to God, because I myself was also asking people to pray. I was praying myself, and I'm like, just, we can let our mind run wild thinking what could have happened to her. And I'm like, Jesus, please um bring her back home safe. It's so crazy how people are like, there's so many people who are missing. Yes, but the thing with the Carly disappearance, not trying to compare anybody, nothing like that. It was just like, we knew that it happened. I actually learned about it a day, basically hours after, not like maybe 24 hours after, but we got here on social media, everybody doing their part, sharing. I said in my previous episode, please share this video, please share the podcast, go and look on Google, look for her photo, see if you recognize her. In her neighborhood, they were doing visuals, everybody sharing, and thank God. And that the great news was that last night she was found safe. I think that's an amazing news. Somebody dropped her off at her house. I think by 11 a.m. last night there was a phone call that got, you know, it came out on media, and it was something about somebody called from the Red Roof Inn. It's, that type of hotel, saying that it was her. And that call got released so fast, I thought, like, she basically got dropped off at home around 10:45, and the call leaked to the press around that time, saying we got somebody who's calling from that hotel saying that her name is Carlee. What happened in between those days that she was missing? What happened to the toddler? We don't know. I think this story is a developing story. There's a lot of details that are gonna come out. So much speculation. This is why when something like this happen, it's almost like I was saying before about the Jamie Fatt story. We as the public really appreciate when somebody from the source, the main source, comes out and say, this is what happened. Okay, you can't mobilize an entire nation, entire social media people, bloggers, YouTubers like myself, and then let us linger in the loop without knowing what the outcome is, or after finding out what the outcome is, not knowing what happened in between, right? I don't think that's pretty fair. I think that when you need the help, and they're coming out on television saying, share the poster, she's missing, now she's found, we want to know more details, right? Of course, you can keep the gruesome, whatever could happen, right? This is why we need to know, because your mind can run wild, right? And you can imagine so many things. This story is a great story because she was found safe. A lot of the times these victims that go through something like this don't have the outcome that Carly did. And then if we don't know what happened to her, we can only assume, right? Based on previous cases. That's my point. So The same thing with Jamie Foxx. If he comes out and say, "This is what actually happened to me," I wasn't dying. I was just, I had I had a health care, and this is what happened, and I'm good now. But I feel like a lot of the times people are so quick to ask when they need help, but they don't really update or like come out and say, "Oh, thank you so much for praying. This is what actually went with me," right? Um, but anyways, the thing with the Carlee case, right, is so similar in the sense that last week we were all talking about the Rudy Farias, right, the kid that apparently was missing, but he was actually living with his mom, right? Another crazy story, right? And the thing with Rudy Farias that because of things that are trending now, not a lot of people are speaking about him right now. So yeah, he was actually living with his mom. There's not going to be any charges pressed for her, and then that's it. And it's almost like everybody's moving on to the next story, right? And it's like, wait. Things like this needs to be investigated. The case with Carlee, and this is why I hope that later today or tomorrow, the family or herself can come out and basically set the record straight. This is what happened. People are going crazy on it online, right? They're saying that she faked the whole thing, right? That she was dealing with some mental thing, that there was never a toddler. People are looking at the CCTV footage of the highway and seeing how could somebody, out of all the people driving by, which is, a lot of these things are making sense because you see her with the hazard lights on her car, and then the child, apparently when she stops, that's when she saw the child. And if you think about it, right, number one, the traffic was moving very slow in that interstate. So they have the footage of the traffic, and it's like, out of all these cars, only Carly was the one that decided to stop. If you tell me, one or three people stop, that would make more sense, but she's the only one who stopped. And then how far did she, how far away did she see the child that she was able to take action immediately? Because, when you're driving in the highway, right? And here we are speculating, but this is just normal things that people do. You're either going super fast or going kind of like medium, like kind of like slow because of traffic. And it looks to me, after looking at the footage from the traffic, right, from the interstate that came out like yesterday, I think early yesterday, you can see the traffic was kind of slow. And it's like, out of all these people, she's the only one who's who stopped, right? And a lot of the times when you see like a problem like that, and you're willing to help out yourself, you see like, oh, this woman stopping, I'll stop too to see if maybe I can help somebody, right? She was the only one who stopped, but by the time she has stopped, she already had the police on the line, right? So it makes you think. People are like, maybe she went around and came back through the exit again to kind of see if the toddler was still there. So how long did that take? Seems like it was very busy, right? So how long did that take that? Then all these other people didn't even see the toddler, and she's the only one who stopped to help, right? And then it can go crazy. There's so many things that are not making sense, right? And then people are like, oh yeah, maybe she was dealing with something at home, something like, mental health and this and the other, which, it makes sense. But her mom is saying on the interview, oh, she looked so happy the whole day, and I was about to tell her how happy, this is the happiest I ever seen her. All right, okay, so that doesn't make sense, right? And then they're saying, maybe she faked the whole thing. First of all, her car was left there, right? Her purse, her cell phone. If she really wanted to disappear, like, there's no like bank record saying, oh, she took out, $1,000 from her account. Like, there's no footage. Like, if she wanted to disappear or take a break or something, like, usually you don't abandon, excuse me, you don't abandon your car in the middle of the highway and create this whole crazy story about seeing a toddler so that you can, worry your family even more, right? She was actually speaking with one of her family members, her sister-in-law or something like that. So, yeah, I really hope that in the next couple days we get to hear from Carlee herself. She's ready to speak, or somebody close to the family, so that they can update, so that we can, understand exactly what happened. I am so thankful that she's home and she's safe. But it's like they're saying that when she got home around right before 11 last night, her family was completely shocked, right? The other thing, too, that I didn't say in my previous episode was that her wig was left. So she was probably forcibly taken, right? But once again, we go back to the highway, right? How can you be driving, right? I don't care if it's in the worst neighborhood, in the neighborhood of where everything bad happened, right? It's not normal behavior from people these days to be driving along a highway that's already driving at a very slow speed, to see a woman being stabbed or being forcibly taken, right? And being forced into another car, and then see a child, because what happened to the toddler, right? And then nobody's gonna say, hey, you know, I just saw something very terrible. Let me call the cops or something. This is what people do. If you guys don't remember, years ago, the Diane Schuler case, right? It's the mom that had her minivan full of kids, right? Three of her kids, or two of her kids, and three other of her nieces, right? In her car, leaving a campsite, was driving in the wrong direction on an interstate on a Sunday. You know how many 911 calls came out? And this is on a Sunday in around 1 p.m. Very slow, very clear traffic. You know, not like people are driving completely slow, nothing like that. It was an open road basically. And they got so many calls, and I can understand. Maybe a car driving on the wrong direction will make people pay more attention. But you're driving alone already in a slow traffic, and you see this young woman being taken away to the forcibly. They're saying her wig was there, her wig was taken out, okay, forcefully. And then there is a child that apparently is also being taken away because that's what made her stop. And this today, her family confirmed that the child was also the bait used to lure her out of her car. So a child was present. The family confirmed that. So she saw a toddler. It was true, right? So all these people driving in a slow paced traffic, and nobody say, wait a second, that doesn't look normal. Let me call the police. The other day, speaking about it, and people, everybody's different, right? But the other day I'm driving down the highway. It was like also like around after 8 or something. I see what did I saw a type of kind of like in the middle of the road basically. Those vacuums that they use at an office, they're kind of round shape, and they have like a long tube type of thing. And I was like, what is this thing doing right here in the middle of nowhere, right? Of course, it's not safe for me to stop and move it. So I'm like, I don't want anybody to just have an accident because of this. I call the local police, and then will send somebody immediately to remove it. And it's like these are the things that we do as normal citizens to help one another, right? Of course, you can't compare as if it's a vacuum, right? But you don't know who could have hit that thing and like get into a car wreck or something, right? So that's what normal people do. If you see something like this, a scene like this, or something like you can only imagine. The other thing too, you have to understand, right? Is she the family basically said the child was used to lure her out of the car. Let's just think about it for 1 second, because I've been around kids for a while, right? A toddler, 2, 3 years old, they're gonna be used for something like this. They're either super well trained, toddlers, they don't really listen to you, right? You can tell them, okay, you're gonna walk down this way. They're scared to be around like a highway with moving cars, and you're gonna leave me here. They're either gonna stop there and just cry on the spot, completely cry, just in complete shock and cry. But there's no toddler that's just gonna walk around, you know, without having another, like a family around there. So this, if it was a real child, and I'm saying that because, there are people who can look like very young like that. Yeah, I mean, you just never know. And, or they can appear to be like that age. So it's either very well trained child or something, right? I think that it's so strange. This is what we need to know. Like, your mind can run wild with this story. This is why they need to come out and clear the record straight for this, right? What happened with her? How is it that people are saying, oh, she faked the whole thing because she wanted a break from her life, right? I think we're all like that. We all want, a break, and then that's why we have the weekends, right? But, anyways, it's just that it's not normal. If people want to get away from their day to day, they don't just leave their car on the highway, right? They don't leave their phone, like at their phone, really? They don't leave their purse and their money and things like that. They'll be like, you know what? I'm just gonna drive until whatever I decide to stop and rent a hotel and take like a couple days to myself. Like, they don't, it's not normal for people to do something like this, right? So I don't think that's the case here, that she was dealing with something and decided to one day to just drop her car off in the highway and go, right? If that's the case, that's really crazy, and she will need like a lot of therapy. But I don't believe that's the case here. So here we are. I'm thankful that once again that she was found safe. It was the best news I got last night. And it took a while to confirm in the fact that everybody's like, nobody is officially is confirming this story. Nobody is confirming this. And it's almost like, with what happened with the submarine, that we were like, really, that happened? And they let us know. They actually knew that they were not gonna come back on the same Sunday that they went down, but everybody knew about it on Wednesday, right? Um, that's another story. In the last 3 weeks, I think that the whole thing with the submarine, and then Rudy Farias, and now we have Carlee Russell. Um, that it's just interesting how these are all just coming to be. But, anyways, that's not the point. The point is, I'm so thankful that she was found safe once again. Let me know what everyone is thinking, right? I think it's just we all walking around with a big question mark about her. That's what happened to me after watching Rudy Farias, and how the police came out and did the interview and said that there was no abuse, there was nothing there. After they used this community leader to go and talk to him, and then the police came and denied everything that he basically said, I was like, man, that's crazy. What can you believe these days, right? But, anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for coming back and listening and watching this on the YouTube channel. Let me know what you think about this. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.